A lone monk watches from atop a hill as a pillar of smoke rises in the distance. He adjusts his saffron robes and begins the long walk down the hill. As he passes through a small village, he sees villagers tending to their farms and shops. They don't look up as he passes. They don't look up as the earth trembles beneath their feet. They don't look up when the sky darkens. And they don't look up when the ground splits open. The cloaked figure standing at the edge of the village looks up and gasps as the creature emerges from the fissure. It towers over the trees, its back plates gleaming like burnished copper in the sun. From a distance, it looks like an enormous lizard, but as the earth shakes with each of its steps, the villagers see that it is much more than that. Its head is shaped like a whale's, its jaws agape, revealing rows and rows of sharp teeth. Steam pours from its nostrils, and the air grows hot and heavy as it draws closer. The villagers drop their tools and run for the hills. Some hide in caves, others in the trees. But the beast does not stop. It keeps coming, destroying everything in its path. Homes and shops collapse beneath its tread. Fields and farmland split under its weight. Trees snap like twigs and boulders crumble into dust. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can defeat it. It is Godzilla. And as it walks, a single word echoes in the terrified minds of those who witness its wrath: God. In the darkness of a dank basement, a man frantically scribbles notes onto a sheet of paper, desperately trying to make sense of the cryptic symbols before him. Every so often, he stops, listens intently to the sounds around him, then resumes his writing. When he finishes, he folds the paper carefully and tucks it into the front of his tattered trousers. Gathering a lantern and a heavy wooden staff, he makes his way out of the basement, up a rickety staircase and through a hole in the wall that barely registers as an entrance. Stepping outside, he looks around wildly, then begins to walk briskly through the deserted streets. He's too late. Everything's gone. All he sees are smoldering ruins and the occasional overturned cart or broken weapon. In the distance, he sees a lone figure walking away from the destruction, a cloak billowing behind him like a phantom. He calls out to the retreating figure, but his voice is lost in the wind. The man throws his head back and lets out a long, mournful howl. In the flickering light of a campfire, two men huddle together, their faces illuminated by the dancing flames. The older man strokes his long white beard, his eyes filled with sadness. It was inevitable, he says, his voice raspy with age. We knew this day would come. The younger man looks up at him, his face streaked with dirt and grime. But why? Why did it have to be our village? Why couldn't it have been one of the other villages? The old man shakes his head. Because we were the last ones, lad. We were the last ones with the knowledge, the last ones who remembered the ways of the ancients. The young man looks down at his hands, ashamed. I'm sorry, he whispers. I didn't know. The old man places a hand on his shoulder. It's all right, lad. It's all right. There was nothing you could have done. But now we must move on. We must find the others. The two men rise and begin to walk away from the fire, their shadows stretching long and thin in the flickering light. As night falls, a small group of people gather together in a clearing, their faces grim and determined. They are farmers, blacksmiths, carpenters, all ordinary people forced into extraordinary circumstances. They have come together because their homes have been destroyed, their families taken from them. They have nothing left to lose. An old man with a long white beard steps forward. We cannot stay here, he says, his voice echoing in the stillness. This place is cursed. We must move on, find somewhere else to live. A young woman shakes her head, tears streaming down her face. Where can we go? Everything's gone. Everything's destroyed. The old man looks at her, his heart breaking. We will rebuild, he says, his voice filled with conviction. We will find a new home and we will start again. We may have lost everything, but we still have each other. And as long as we have each other, we will survive. The group nods, their faces still grim, but their eyes now shining with determination. They may have lost everything, but they still have hope. Gojira moves slowly, deliberately, his massive form casting a long shadow over the land. He walks through the charred remains of cities, ignoring the smoldering ruins and the skeletons of the dead. His eyes are fixed on the horizon, his mind focused on his mission. He destroys everything in his path, not out of malice, but because he has no choice. This is what he was built for. This is what he was designed to do. He is a weapon, and he is unstoppable. He walks through forests untouched by the war, through fields of green grass and wildflowers, past animals who flee in terror at the sight of him. He doesn't care about any of it. He has a job to do and he won't rest until it's finished. As he walks, the ground trembles beneath his feet, the air grows hot and heavy, and the very fabric of reality seems to warp and twist around him. Nothing can stop him. Nothing can defeat him. He is Godzilla, and he is unstoppable. Godzilla reaches the foot of a mountain and pauses. He looks up at the peak, his eyes narrowed. This is it. This is where he must go. He takes a deep breath and begins to climb. As he climbs, the air grows colder, the sky darker. The ground becomes rougher, the rocks more jagged. But he doesn't care. He keeps going, driven by his mission, by his purpose. Finally, he reaches the top of the mountain and stands there, silhouetted against the darkening sky. Around him, the world trembles and the very fabric of reality seems to tear and warp. He is at the center of the universe, and he feels it all around him. The pain, the suffering, the death, the destruction. It's all here at the top of this mountain. Godzilla lets out a roar that echoes across the land, a roar that shakes the very foundations of the world. And in that moment, everything changes. The old man and the young woman stand at the edge of a cliff, watching as Godzilla reaches the top of the mountain. The old man's eyes are filled with awe and wonder, while the young woman's eyes are filled with fear and sadness. "It's done," the old man says, his voice filled with reverence. "It's finished." The young woman nods, tears streaming down her face. "It's over," she whispers. Godzilla lets out another roar, this time even louder, even more powerful. And in that moment, the world is reborn. The sky clears, the clouds part, and the sun shines down on a new world. A world without war, without pain, without suffering. Godzilla turns to look at the two humans. He looks at the old man with gratitude and respect, and he looks at the young woman with love and compassion. Then he turns and walks away, disappearing into the distance. The old man and the young woman watch him go, knowing that they will never forget what they have seen. They have witnessed the birth of a new world, a world that will be forever changed by the actions of one creature. A creature who was once a weapon, but who has now become a symbol of hope. A lone monk stands at the edge of a forest, his saffron robes flowing in the wind. Behind him, he can hear the roar of Godzilla echoing across the land. He turns and looks back at the forest, his eyes filled with determination. He knows what he must do. He must tell the others what he has seen, what he has heard. He must tell them that Godzilla is gone, that the world is reborn. With a deep breath, he turns and begins to walk away, his shadow stretching long and thin in the dying light of the sun. As he walks, the trees part before him and a path is cleared. He walks on, his head held high, his eyes fixed on the horizon. He has a message to deliver, a story to tell, and he will not rest until he has done it.